I'm going to tell you that story this morning and then talk about what we can learn from Chamberlain and those young men about leadership. Because that's what a part of MCI is all about. And we'll talk about leadership and the leadership of MCI. But let me tell you the story first. Joshua Chamberlain was born, as I mentioned, on a farm up in Brewer, Maine. He basically was homeschooled in the 1820s and 30s. There wasn't much in the way of public education. He went to Bowdoin College down in Brunswick, as a lot of young men in Maine did at that time, graduated the class of 1852, and decided he wanted to go to the seminary, so he went back to Bangor Theological Seminary. By the way, when he was studying to go to Bowdoin, he taught himself Greek and Latin. When he got to Bowdoin, he learned German, Spanish, and French. He then went to the seminary and learned Hebrew, Aramaic, and Old Norse. The man spoke 10 languages. He was a very smart guy. He decided he didn't want to be a minister, however, went back to Bowdoin, became a professor, and was teaching at Bowdoin in the late 1850s and early 1860s. In November of 1860, something very important happened. Abraham Lincoln was elected President of the United States. At that time, the inauguration of the president was on March 4th rather than January 20th, and between the time that Lincoln was elected in November and March, 7 states had left the Union. And in fact, James Buchanan, the president prior to Lincoln, publicly said in Washington that winter, "I am the last president of the United States," because he did not believe the country could be held together. Fortunately, Lincoln didn't share in that belief. Again, Chamberlain is teaching at Bowdoin. Everyone thought the Civil War was going to last a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, because the problem of slavery had been one that we had been papering over in our politics for almost 200 years. It's papered over in the United States Constitution. I won't go into the details, but there were compromises made at the Constitutional Convention about the issue of slavery. Everybody thought, the politicians will work this out. But it didn't happen. Two things happened. The war dragged on, and the South was winning. Chamberlain, in the winter of 1861, decided that he wanted to work and serve his country in the army. He went to the president of Bowdoin College and said, "I want to have a leave of absence, please, in order to join the army to help preserve the Union." The president of the college said, "No, that won't serve the purposes of the college. You won't make much of a go to Europe to study Romance languages." "That's more like it, Chamberlain."